Hello there and welcome to Shuttlebay 4. Imagine you are serving on a crew in the Star Trek universe. Who would your fantasy crew be? And what would be your ship?
I didn't stick to your silly rules.
Well, the brief was name your ship, pick a captain and 6 crew to accompany you on the ship. What will your role be? Which suggests to me you've basically got a crew of 8, a captain with 6 people and you.
I got a crew of 8, and then I'm a little addition then.
You're a little addition, okay. I put a lot of thought into it, and then John Joe sent me his, and he's put way more effort into his. So, everybody, welcome to my fantasy ship. So, welcome to the, get ready for it, the USS Wilberforce.
Oh, nice.
Okay, now the USS Wilberforce is a Ambassador class starship, refitted. And just in case you forgot what an Ambassador class ship looks like, that's the Enterprise C right there. The reason why it's called the USS Wilberforce is Wilberforce was a British politician who was instrumental in the abolition of the slave trade. And his progressive attitude, it wasn't progressive in all areas, but his progressive attitude in that area, he just helped to, push humanity in the right direction. And so that's why this ship bears his name. We've got shuttlecraft on the Wilberforce. We've got 5 Type 6 shuttlecraft, which, as you know, are my favourite type of shuttlecraft. The 4 transit vans of Starfleet. We've got the Darwin, as in Charles Darwin. We've got Newton, as in Isaac. Wilde, as in Oscar. Shakespeare, don't think I need to explain that one. And Archer, named after the celebrated Starfleet captain who... who was responsible for the very beginnings of the Federation. Without Archer, then we just simply wouldn't be here. We're on a 5-year mission of exploration and first contact diplomacy, which might sound boring to some, but, we'll have adventures on the way. But what we're here for is the crew. So this is my crew. Captain Benjamin Sisko is a direct captain, is a captain I trust. When we did our favourite captains, I don't think he made my top 3, to be honest. But if I were to serve under a captain, I think Sisko is a captain that I would pick. First officer, stroke operations, it's Mr. Data. He's a good all-rounder. Now, my crew, what I've gone for is a multi-discipline crew. So I've got a crew who can because we've only got a small crew of, 6 people plus me. I need people who can go to different workstations and, get stuff done. I need people with multiple skills. So we've got Data there, science, stroke ops, Jadzia Dax, helm, stroke ops, Tom Paris, medical, got to be the EMH, and for engineering, stroke maintenance, this is maybe a bit of a wild card, but as we kind of saw in one of the episodes that we looked at, he is actually an overlooked genius. It is Rom.
Nice. Like that, Dad. Brilliant.
And we've got 2 ensigns on board.
Oh, well,
Ensign,
nice.
Beckett Mariner, and of course, Dan Rook. Way! So I've not given myself some big swanky role. I'm not the head of engineering. I'm not the captain. I'm not number 1. I'm a lower decker. And you know what? That's how I like it to be.
Brilliant.
That's it. That's my ship. So
That's
there you go.
awesome.
That's the USS Wilberforce.
With a PowerPoint presentation.
With a PowerPoint presentation. Who wants to go next with their fantasy crew?
Okay, well, I didn't put as much thought in. My ship's name, I'll start with my ship's name, is the USS Lansbury.
I love it.
And the registration is NCC 19585. Yep, which is the date that Murder, She Wrote was released in the UK. 19th of May 85.
All right, I get you now.
I've gone for an Intrepid class ship because it's smaller, it's maneuverable, it's really fast, super tough. Got up-to-date weaponry, love how the nacelles do go up and retract. And then I think the bridge is one of my favorite bridges on any starship. So that's my ship. My mission, I had to write this down. It was very silly of me, but it's deep exploration of Uranus. But actually, my real mission is I want my ship to be out at the far reaches of the Federation space, kind of visiting all the bases that we might have, or the technology that we've got out there, and to kind of go and check it. Does it need repairs, anything going on? And then on the way, because we're out that far, obviously looking for mysteries to solve, which fits in with my theme. With regards to picking a crew, I did this. I picked my captain last, so I'm going to tell you my captain last. And I've tried to say it in the order that I chose it. And what I was really interested, because it'll become apparent, but it wasn't to me till right at the end when I looked up and thought, oh, right, okay. I did go into these as, what officer is it, security, ops, whatever it is, and really, really try and think of who I wanted in that position. And then at the end, I didn't realize who I'd picked until I'd looked up, and I was like, oh shit, okay. First, my first priority on my ship was bartender. So I'm having a bartender, but I guess he can be classed as part of the crew if you want him to. And after going through all the options, you're kind of left really with Guinan and Quark, because there are other bartenders you see like in movies, or you might see them in certain episodes of TOS, but with those two options, I obviously went for Quark. I think Quark I know he's like a dodgy character, but he's also really resourceful. And then my second choice was for security officer, and went for Odo, because I think Odo, because of his abilities, his temperament as well, I find his temperament really, I don't know, I kind of like it. I know he's grumpy, but that's fine, I'm grumpy. His harumphs are just the best lines ever written, even though they're not even written. He just puts them in himself.
I tell you what, I'm not going to try and guess anything, but if you've got Pulaski in your crew, that's going to be epic with Odo.
I didn't know Pulaski. Right, okay. He can work outside the rules. I think Odo, so you got him and Quark that can work slightly outside the rules, and I think having both of them keeps them both in check as well. Like they are a couple of characters they deserve always to be together. So next one I chose was the Doctor. Might become apparent where I'm going now. I did go through like my favorite Doctor in the previous episode, and it was Bashir. And I also, when we talked about who would you like to go out for a drink with, Bashir was on my list for that as well. And so I couldn't look past Bashir for that. I think, again, his abilities are amazing. He's fun-natured and positive, whereas other Doctors, based on McCoy, have that grouchy kind of thing, you know what I mean? Next one I chose. This is interesting because you picked it already down. My engineer is Rom as well.
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely. I really, really thought about it. So it was engineer ops, and I am really stuck against these two, which were my next two choices of Rom and O'Brien. And so when I thought about those two, O'Brien is there because, like you've mentioned, it's good to have somebody that's good at everything. Like O'Brien is good in any situation. And Rom, I've written down like he's a genius. He's just like an unknown genius so far, and he comes up with the best ideas. Like he came up with the mine ideas for the Dominion, and that was an amazing idea. And I just think he proves anytime he's given any kind of task that he is that person. So I've gone outside the box and chose Ron for engineer.
I'm really chuffed you got for Ron. Yeah.
I put ops for O'Brien.
Oh, so you have got O'Brien in there still, yeah?
Yeah, O'Brien is in there. For Helm was next. And I'm thinking about it, and I've already got Quark, already got Rom, so I had to include Nog. And I think Nog is an amazing character anyway. Yeah. He really, really does stand out as an amazing character. I know he's a young cadet, but during the war got promoted to ensign. And he's a brilliant officer. Like, he's really brave, and he'll try anything. So I included them, so I've kept the little Ferengi family together on my ship. First officer next. This was a tough one, but this is my ultimate Star Trek character, and he is first officer, so is Spock. Spock is my first officer. I don't know what else to say. He is like the ultimate character. Kind of an obvious choice maybe, but not within my crew, possibly. Yeah. And then what I did was I looked up, and I was like, so you basically just picked the whole of Deep Space Nine, except Spock. And then I tried to put the captain who would fit all them characters, and I couldn't go past Cisco. So I basically got Spock with the Deep Space Nine crew, including all the little aliens. You might not want. You know what I mean? But I also looked back then and thought, right, okay, they're gonna, like Cisco, I knew would work with them because I chose him for that reason. But I wondered, would they work together? Well, they're all from Deep Space Nine except Spock, and I think Spock can work with anyone. And he's like he put up enough with Captain Kirk's shenanigans or whatever, like his exuberance, and was able to deal with that. So I think him and Cisco would actually work really well together. And then the rest of the crew, like he'd help keep Quark in check, and I don't know, be good role models. So that's my crew on me. And then I'm just Morn. I'm Morn at the bar. Okay.
You're at the bar.
Yeah, but I My role on the ship would be Morn, but I'm known as Brush.
All right. Do you know what? I really, really like that crew. I mean, I forgot to mention the reason why I picked the EMH in mind, by the way, is because if there's anything wrong with me, right, I think I mentioned this when we did about the doctors. I would like the person who's basically plugged into the internet, well, into the full medical database, and it doesn't tire. And I love him as a character. I know Penfold isn't on tonight because he can't join us, but I know Penfold is a massive EMH fan, and I think that. I wouldn't say if Penfold picked a crew, I think you'd have EMH on there, but he has actually sent us his crew, and the EMH
really
isn't on there. I know, yeah. It is quite sweet.
Also, when you go to see that doctor and you're in real desperate need for help, you want to hope like there isn't a glitch and he isn't available.
Or is that big or something like that? But the good thing is, if you've got Data on board as well, to be honest, you pretty much, Data can do any role on the ship. Any role, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's a good choice. That's really good. I really like your choice of Intrepid, by the way, because I actually wasn't going to go for a big ship. I was going to go for the Defiant, because it's a nice little ship.
Yeah, Defiant, though, when you look at it against other ships, is actually tiny as well, isn't it? And I do love the Defiant, but it's
really maneuverable as well.
It's meant to be a warship, though, so I didn't choose that. I did look for little ones. Like the only other one I wanted was the what's the one from Chibok? The Nebula class. Yeah, the Nebula class.
Yeah.
I really like that, but they're quite old, aren't they? And they haven't been redone into newer ships. So
yeah,
I stuck with my Intrepid.
Well, I went for the C because no, not the C. I went for an ambassador class. Well, although you may have picked up from my description, it is the C because it is the C that gets destroyed. You know, so it's a refitted C. So it's got a bit of provenance there.
Yeah.
But it's not as big as the Galaxy class. It's much smaller. And I do like the look of it. So I thought, well, okay, it's my fancy crew. I'll have a ship that I really like the look of.
Exactly.
Go on then, Rashid.
Okay, so my ship's the Enterprise D from TNG, the Galaxy Enterprise D.
Yeah.
And it's called USS Uzman, my surname.
Cool.
Nice one.
A dream. My name on the starship. It's like a dream. So, and it's my crew, my ship. So, what the hell? It's Uzman. So, UZZAMAN, Uzman. Okay, so you're Uzman. Now,
Uzman.
Uzman, exactly. Uzman. So, my captain I've chosen. Obviously, I like Cisco and Jane are my two favorite captains, but I went for Pike because I love Pike as well. He's going to be my captain because Cisco is amazing, but he's very strict. You'd go to war with Cisco, but Captain Pike is so much more laid back. He's more approachable. I think he's got this really, really superb quality with the crew. I love the way his mannerisms, the way he speaks to them, the way he encourages them. He's much more approachable as a captain than I think Cisco Janeway is, for example. And he impressed the hell out of me. Everything about Captain Pike, he's just like top notch, number one. So he's definitely going to be my captain on my ship. My first officer is going to be Chakotay. You know how much I love Chakotay. He's my first officer. Can do anything, go on missions, protect the captain. He can go on the con in emergency. Don't shake your head, Brush. I've just Steve shaking his head as well, if I can't see him. So Chakotay is just like, he's brilliant, Chakotay, so I can't speak on him. He's my first officer. My pilot's going to be Detmer from Discovery. So I think she's a brilliant pilot. I think she's a really good character as well. And so I like Detmer a lot. So she's going to be my pilot. Tom Paris came close. I love Tom Paris. I wanted to keep away from Bilana. Bilana's my engineer. I love Bilana Torres. And I want to keep Tom Paris. I want Tom Paris and Bilana to be the same ship, basically. So have Bilana by herself. So Bilana's in engineering for me. I think she's a brilliant engineer, basically, Bilana Torres. So I rate her very highly. I like when Chakotay told Janeway that Bilana could teach at the academy. That's how good she is. My security is going to be Tuvok. Really impressive security officer. He does buy the book. He's been in Starfleet for many, many years as an instructor. He's got bags of experience and just really impressive. Really, I like Tuvok a lot. I've gone for a counselor. Deanna Troy's going to be my crew. Deanna Troy. I've got a counselor. Anybody in the crew wants to talk to anyone? So Troy's there. Good officer as well. I like Troy a lot. She'll be a good counselor. And Dr. Bashir is going to be my doctor. I love the EMH as well, but I think for Starship, I think Dr. Bashir is more personable, talk to him as well. As much as I love the EMH, he can annoy the hell out of me. He can be really annoying. He can really trying sometimes, And I love the EMH, I love the EMH. He's my favourite character from Voyager, but he can be a bit too much sometimes. So that's all for Dr. Bashir. My role on the ship is I'm the bartender.
Bartender, there you go. You come work in my bar.
I'll be the bar like Guyanese serving drinks and looking after 10 forward, so to speak. That's me. I'll be in the bar and I like my crew and we'll be exploring the stars. That's it. That's me done.
Nice one, Rashid. I like
Excellent.
that. I like the fact you've got some of the ones that didn't quite make mine, but were in some of my previous drafts were Balana. I'd really struggled with engineer because I wanted Trip in there because I really like Trip. But I just felt that if I were to line up the engineers and see which is the best one, it maybe wasn't quite the best engineer, but I did rank Balana very highly. But I went for Rom because I love Rom.
Brilliant. But he was a chief engineer on the show. That's why Rom kind of slipped my mind. Rom is a genius. He's brilliant.
Well, like we pointed out when we watched Little Green Men, in Star Trek 4, like Spock is like figuring out how to, go back in time, and Rom basically just figures it out in seconds. It's just like, yeah, this is what we'll do. Genius.
He doesn't realize it. He just comes up with it. And just in a second, it's just like that goes about dumb again. Talks about dumb, talks about dumb again, basically. But he's brilliant.
But I think with Rom, I think it's because he doubts himself. I think he's almost embarrassed to kind of show off his knowledge and his abilities, and he puts himself down. And I think that's why I like Rom. I think a lot of people like Rom because I think we've said this in previous episodes. I think a lot of people see themselves in Rom. They've got maybe so much potential, but they don't feel that they're really able to utilize it. But he can on my ship because I picked him, and on Brush's ship. I was going to say hello to Jed. I can't see. All I can see is his arm now.
You've got to fit the frame.
I've done a bit of it. I haven't had time to do it all. I know I've had a fortnight, but
have you not? What do you mean you've not done a PowerPoint presentation, Steve? Okay, can I make a prediction, Steve? I've got a funny feeling that Michael Burnham isn't going to be in your crew.
Oh my God, you're like a psychic, mystic. Meg, step aside.
Go on then.
Right, mine's not as detailed as your lot, but my ship is the USS Not a Romulan.
That's so obvious who you are.
I figure if I print it on my ship, then people will stop asking. Okay, seems like a relatively simple process.
I have to say, for the benefit of the tape, that we've got a running joke that Steve's a Romulan spy because he always joins these things, and whenever we talk about a Star Trek episode, he never likes it. So the joke is that Steve hates Star Trek and is infiltrating our group.
He's a Romulan spy.
Can I just say,
don't tell me your ship is also a Romulan class ship, is it? Say not a Romulan.
Mind your business.
It's cloaked, you can't tell.
Yeah, so I've done a few of them. I haven't gone full on. So Picard would be my captain as always, just because he's the quintessential Britishman who's technically French. Yeah, so, can't win them all, I suppose. I'd have Tom Paris at the comm, just because I really like him as a pilot. I think he's really good. It's one thing to have, say, Data at the comm, and he's practically a machine, whereas Tom's a bit more, well, apart from human, a bit more, I don't know, the typical flyboy type. And I reckon if I had a ship that needed manoeuvring, I'd probably want him. Wolf would be security, just because he's a big-ass Klingon and I love Klingons.
Yep.
So that would please Gibbo. I'd have Spock as first officer. I quite like him. And I think between him and Picard, that could be quite interesting.
Yeah.
Geordie and engineering, there's a bit of a theme here. A bit like the whole DS9 thing. It's really hard to separate them across all the things because they were all very good in their ships. I'd have Guinan in the bar just because I'd like to meet Whoopi Goldberg, but that's a side note. Yeah, I haven't really got many. I would not have a counsellor. What the Jeez.
You've got Guinan, haven't you? You don't need a counsellor.
I think a counsellor is understandable though on a ship.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my ship would be more of a warship as opposed to exploration. A bit more along the lines of the Defiant as opposed to necessarily.
You're not gonna go to many wars with Picard. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah. In your Romulan ship.
Enjoying uni?
Are you enjoying uni? It's your can't hear, sorry, because I've got a headset on. Are you enjoying uni? She's on placement at the minute at school.
Oh, okay. At school.
You love them all, don't you? You love them to bits. Right, there we go. Sorry to interrupt. That's a good selection there. I can't disagree with anyone's selection, I've not heard anybody's and thought, don't like that. I mean, I maybe wouldn't have a counsellor on with Troy, whatever, but I still fully agree with it. I think it's I can completely see why. And to be honest, if I could have more crew, then I would definitely have a counsellor on it, because I think it's useful to have, especially when you're out in space.
Could you imagine if you had like the top 30, if you had to have picked 30, you would have literally had every crew from every series.
Yeah. That's what I said to Brush, because
you'd have more security officers than you could shake a stick at.
Yeah, you would. But you could have the full rota. You could have like 3 shifts of 8 people. You could really go mad, which is why it makes it interesting if we'd narrow it down a bit. Oh, Jed's got pizza.
Could you imagine like a meeting of the senior officers though? You'd need like a concert hall.
Yeah, you would. Yeah.
It'd be a bit ridiculous, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it was hard to keep it down though. I had to cut some out.
Yeah.
And there's lots of choices. Like I said, I would have included Worf was a really tough one to ignore.
Yeah.
But so it was between Worf and Odo for me, but I went for Odo.
Something tells me that Tasha Yar's not going to make the list in terms of security officers.
Well, if Patches is on, she will. Bloody hell. Definitely. I didn't mention as well, so Cisco, another reason I chose him as captain was he'd give him a chance to have a ship and go explore, because we've never seen Cisco do that. He's had the Defiant, but always short missions, and so it'd be nice to see him out exploring.
I saw a meme the other day that said Cisco was in charge of what do they call it, a gas station and like a supermarket, essentially, by being on DS9. You know, like the motorway services. You know, which I thought was quite amusing. You got all the others with their big old fancy ships, and what does he get? Tesco's. Hello, mate. You all right?
Hello, I'm all right. You all right?
You all right?
No, I'm absolutely banging.
What's singing?
It's Christmas.
Sorry, I'm late. Are you all good?
Yes, thank you.
Good. How are you, Emma?
I'm all right. It's all right.
I love a good regional accent. I like a Geordie accent. Emma, we've gone through our fantasy crew and ship or whatever. John Jones recorded a video, but if I share it, we can't hear the audio, which is a shame because it is a genuinely brilliant video. I hope everybody watches it once it gets uploaded because it is genuinely brilliant. It's put a lot of effort into it. He's even in full costume. He's even wearing his uniform.
That uniform looked really familiar, but I couldn't quite place it.
Well, you wouldn't find him on your ship, would you? You know.
No, absolutely not. Very simple.
Right, for captain, I'd have Cisco.
What's the name of your ship?
Oh, that was it. The Rusty Ring. USS Rusty Ring. I'm just making it up. I don't know. I can't remember. My captain would be Cisco. Because it's Cisco. Get him out of Tesco's. He's fantastic on the Defiant. My first officer would be Kira. He's near enough DS9. This. My engineer would be O'Brien because he sorted out that, he got hold of a Cardassian space station and he retrofitted it. And he sorted it out and tools, yeah. My would be like Steve, it'd be Paris.
Yeah.
Because that man can fly. My tactical would be Worf.
Good answer.
Because he's rock hard. My medic could be the AMH. He's got the entire Starfleet database in his head. And my science officer would be Dax.
Yeah.
I won't have a counsellor. I sense something. Sense me ass. Got a time for that. That was me.
I love the overlaps for these crews. I think everybody's crews overlapped. There's definitely some people who are making several crews. We've got some popular ones.
Cisco will have his choice of ships too.
He will, won't he? And Paris as well.
Not mine, mate. Not mine. Get back to Tesco, Cisco.
Shut up, you. Picard and Spock are two most cerebral things you're ever going to do. You're going to be so bored.
You wouldn't want a couple of lemons in charge, would you? You'd want...
Got to think about board game night.
Board game.
Oh, could you imagine like Scrabble between the two of them?
Oh yeah. And my job, what would I do? I'd just be that odd arsehole who just stands at the back of the bridge doing now.
You'd be an extra.
So basically, pointless.
I just walk in and out. Yeah, hello.
You'd be the one that dies on the away mission.
Yeah, be careful.
Be
careful.
No.
With extras, if you've got a line, that's really bad news. So as long as you're a meat extra, you'll be fine.
Do you know who I can see Jed being? Neelix.
You can't cook for shit.
If it's a Wetherspoons and they've got a microwave, I'm sorted. Do it. I burn salads. Do you know what I mean?
Come on then, D.
Mine's really boring because he picked all mine. I was going for the double hard, solid as crew. You know what I mean? In a fight, you weren't going to go against him, right? And he took half of mine, so I've had to have a rearrange. So I think I've gone more people I'd prefer to be in the company of and people I'd prefer to be around. So my captain's Saru. I love him.
Yeah.
He's so good. I do love Saru, and I'm friends with Doug Jones anyway. On Twitter, not in personal life. He follows me on Twitter. Woohoo! My first officer is 7. Only because she was first officer in the last season of Picard. Was it?
Yeah.
So she gets that.
Yep.
She can, because otherwise she would fit in. Was it science somewhere like that? But I didn't want to put her there because I've already filled that slot with someone else. So I thought first officer 7. My engineer is Reno, just for laughs, and she loves licorice the same as me. I love licorice. She loves licorice. We'll just eat licorice and fix things.
I gotta say that's the best reason ever for picking an officer, because we both like licorice. I love that.
My security is Odo. I can't think of a better security officer than Odo. No one's ever got the better. I mean, and he's a bloody foundling. And even the Dominion won't touch him. Do you know what I mean? Nobody will mess with him. Operations, right? I did put data, but I did want to change that. His data would be data, because my science officer's Spock, and they'd be too boring. I can't have two really straight, no nonsense, logical characters together, because that would bore me to tears.
But you play board games with Dan.
I'd always lose. There'd be no fun. They don't sing. They don't dance. What good are they?
Have you seen
They
the
sound
Monty?
perfect.
My science officer again was be Spock. If I can think of a different operations one, then I'll come up with him. But Data and Spock together would be so dry and boring. Me and Reno would just be sat there going, God, they're dull. And then obviously my medic, just because he's double hard, and Benga. What's wrong with you that? Your face then? I was like, oh, have I upset someone?
No,
No, we're doing impressions of Mbenga, but you can barely hear it because it's quiet.
All right.
Do it, brush.
That is shit, mate.
I love it, Benga's voice.
Oh, I've got a name for my ship.
What?
I'm going to be the Galactic Temptress. And on my ship, I'm going to be Entertainment Officer. Just because I'm just going to
You're going to be Neelix?
No, pull pints, cook food. Yeah, I'm going to be Neelix. Pull pints, cook food, and then and chuck a karaoke in the bar.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Nice.
I'll do entertainment.
Cheers, dear. I like that. I like the fact you got
Very good.
Saru on there. I like the fact you got Saru, because Saru was very nearly my. It probably was at one stage, and then he got crossed out and replaced. But I do love Saru, and if I were to have, say, 2 or 3 more people, he would definitely be, the one of the ones that would be in.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's what I mean. You made it really hard by giving us such a tiny number. So
The thing is, if you've got a big number, it becomes boring then, because you can just throw any old character. When you've got to really think about it and argue the point for characters been in, that's what makes it interesting. And otherwise, it just go on for ages as well.
yeah. Well, I picked 7 and Reno because we've got to have some women on board. Otherwise, I'm going to get bored. Got to know one to plait my hair for me and shit. Do you know what I mean? And have a pamper night with.
I reckon Saru would do that.
Yeah, so definitely.
If it is captain, he's not going to go
Oh,
girly
yeah,
night
yeah,
on me.
That's true. Do
He's
you not
gonna
think the
go-
danger of having Saru, though, is that you might not really mix with him? Because I always think, well, like we said before, the captains tend to keep themselves to themselves and not mix with the rest of the crew. Because I don't think I would get on very well with Cisco in terms of friends. But as a captain, I think I'd be fine with him. But I think I'd probably struggle. I don't think we've got much in interest. I'm not into baseball,
You don't like rounders.
I don't like rounders. I don't think he's into Formula One. I don't even think he likes Star Trek.
He likes the piano.
It is like ding 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 with Shatner sat next to him. I love that clip. Shatner thinking, what the is going on?
I'm just a bit gutted about the Data Spock thing because they're a bit too, like they say, there's a bit of samey gamer, but they've got a pal in each other, haven't they? And everyone
Exactly,
else can go to my bar and we'll sing on the karaoke. I reckon Saru will be great on the karaoke though.
No, it's got a beautiful.
I bet it'd
voice.
be alright. I bet it'd be a right hoot on dance floor too. I bet he can cut some shapes.
He's got one of those weird feet, hasn't he? I bet he can do some right funky moves.
That's what I mean. Absolutely, I think he'd be great at that. We'll have to ask him. Do you do groovy dancing?
Ask him. You're his mate on Twitter. Emma, have you done your ship crew?
I have, but is it really worth me going through it? Because you know what's coming. You know
We do
what
know what's
kind of
coming, yeah.
people. You know.
Have you just got Trip? Is it just that?
No,
you and Trip?
no. He might be in there, but it's not just Trip.
All right.
And I didn't think of naming my ship, but I'm going to go for the USS Obvious, because obviously you know what's coming, don't you? Right. So, captain was difficult because there's so many lovely captains. I didn't know what to pick. So, originally I was going to go with Captain Pike, the Anson Mount Silver Fox Pike, but I've changed it at the last minute. I've gone for Captain Shaw because because he's just vile, isn't he? I love him. He's vile. If I was a captain, I'd be like him. I'd be ruthless. I'd be horrible. And he's also sexy. He died too soon. He could have had his own spin-off series with the Titan, but I'm not even going to get into that. But yeah, so Captain Shaw's my captain. So first officer is Spock, the Ethan Peck version, because when he got his top off, the Fanny Gallups came. And also when he kissed Nurse Chapel, even though it was the fake kiss in front of the bad guys, whatever, I can't remember, but that was sexy as well, and that gave me the Fanny Gallups as well. So yeah, first officer is Ethan Peck's Spock. Comms, I've got Data, because Data is fully functional in multiple techniques. And at helm, I've got Tom Paris. That is simply because as a teenager, he was I loved him. Not so much now, he peaked in Voyager, not anymore, no. But yeah, young Tom Paris, he would be there at the helm. Chief engineer, come on. We know who it's going to be, don't we? It's got to be Trip, but two of them with Sim as well. Two for the price of one. Got to be both in there. And the Doctor, you'll be surprised, I've got Dr. Phlox. I love him. I love that horrible smile he does when he goes up there, that horrible smile. Yeah, and I just love him. And the fact that John Billingsley wanted to sign my boobs in 2021, and I think he's even put that he wanted to sign my boobs on my autograph thing, so he had to be there. And operations, I had to think hard about this one. Harry Kim, I felt that we needed to have a long-suffering ensign in there. That was always going to be an ensign, and that is Harry Kim. And he's also resilient. He frigging died, and they got an alternate Harry Kim. And he never even moaned at the fact that nobody mourned the loss of the other Harry Kim. There was no funeral, there was no wake, there was calls for him, and he took it well. So that is mine. That is my ship.
Nice.
And, hang on. I would have a position on there as well. I would take Neelix's role of morale officer. If any of these poor gentlemen needed to come to me for moral support or a massage or just tension relief, I would be there to support the officers. I would be there.
I actually had Harry Kim on my list when he was like 10 long, but I had to cut some out. And what did I write? Harry Kim as ops. And it was because you need somebody dependable. Now, he's never going anywhere. You know what I mean? So, and I think he is really...
an ensign forever.
He's good at his job as well. He's really good at his job.
He is, but to me, he's just not a standout. Like Harry stands out.
No, but can't all stand out. You know what I mean?
I know, but in my crew, you've got to stand out.
Okay. Well, obviously mine as well, because I cut Harry Kim out of it.
Who else were your nearly people then? Like I say, for me, it was Saru and probably Balana.
Jadzia Dax. I really struggled not to include Jadzia Dax, and when you look at my list, the only person from Deep Space Nine I didn't include was her, but I couldn't go past Spock, because you had to cut them and make them maybe do dual roles. Spock like as first officer and science. Jadzia Dax was a close choice for me, and Worf, like I said.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, again, I don't think Worf would have made my list. Tuvok I was considering, but I never really thought about Worf.
What about two Vics?
Two for one. Right, I'll read out Penfold's, because Penfold gave us his fancy crew. Now, I'm not sure if Penfold's taking the piss or what here with this, but I'll read it out.
I think he was being very sincere, and he's had to just fit us into categories, because my role, I'm going to be shit at that, I tell you.
He's picked people from here, and not everybody's in it, so I'm going to add a few extras. So
you made him pick 6, that's why.
Oh, that's true, yeah, Bolster's crew. Right, so it's put me as captain, which is probably not a good idea. Considering my crew, I made myself a lower decker. I don't think I'm ready for captaincy. I don't think I'd be very good at it.
Oh, that's good. I think that's a good captain who isn't somebody they necessarily want. So.
First officer's got Rashid.
Thank you. I'm honoured.
Ship's doctor, Steve.
I hope I would never get ill, if I'm honest.
Must be his care in bedside manner.
That's probably a smart move, mate.
And if I did, I'd just transport somewhere else.
Right, cool. Oh, Steve, actually, if you're a doctor, I'm now I'm in my 40s. I think I'm due a prostate exam. So glove yourself up.
I'll do that.
It was one of the things I was looking forward to about turning 40, and it's nenever happened. Let's have a look. So tactical, we've got Brush. Engineering, Patches. Because Patches does all the maths, and he is an engineer. I think engineering is Patches and John Joe, and he's got Rachel as science officer. And me security says, me as in Penfold. All aboard the USS Vigilant. In addition to that, we should have Emma as the morale officer, D
Definitely.
as the, what did D say? What did you say you were?
Entertainment.
Entertainment officer, and Jed can be the extra in the background still, ready
It
to
doesn't
die on
talk.
his first
It
away
doesn't
mission.
talk.
Your love
It
lifted
lifted
me
me
higher. But the reason, because I didn't realise that they were using it's because they say earlier on in the film,
Sorry.
it seems to have an affinity with Jackie Wilson, and then they play a bit of the song. They
But
play a bit
the
of Jackie
darts
Wilson.
player.
100.
That's Jockey Wilson.
Sorry, the audio cut out a bit then, D. Sing that song again.
Your love lifted me higher.
I love it.
Never did before.
My ship will be the Enterprise D. That's the ship, and it will be called the USS Axanar. The reason being is because I think Axanar is probably the best fan film ever made, and it had a lot of legs, and it was well put together, and it shouldn't have been killed, basically. And my crew. So the captain will be Captain James T. Kirk. And I know that's pretty simple, and it's an easy pick, and it sounds quite lazy, but he is my all-time favourite captain, 100%. I like his management style, if you like. He never loses it with any kind of crew member. He puts up with a lot. He's loyal. He's a bit of a maverick. I don't think he overly exposes the crew to danger, but he doesn't shirk from it either. I think Worf puts it best in Trials and Tribulations when he says it'll be an honor to meet him. You know, he's like legendary status. My first officer would be Jadzia Dax, and it would be Jadzia Dax and no other Dax. I think with the wealth of experience in all of those lifetimes, I think that would make an excellent first officer. And I think every bit as good as Spock, with sage advice, a balance, lots of alternative options, maybe questioning. I think she does question Ben Sisko on occasion, like, are you sure about this? I'm not sure about this. I think she would make an excellent first officer. And I think even if I said, yeah, I'm sure, I've listened to your advice, I'm going to do it anyway, she would back me up then. I think so.
Yeah.
The Doctor will be Hugh Culber, because that is the Doctor that I think I would like to be treated by.
Do you mean like a spa weekend?
Yeah, I don't mean mud pack treatment, Dan. I mean, like, if there was something really wrong, I think I would like him to treat me. And I think he's got the best bedside manner. And I think he gels with the crew quite well. I think everybody in the crew would never have a problem in taking their issues to him, whatever they may be. And he is kind of like a bit of a counselor on the ship with no counselor as well. You know what I mean? So I don't have a counselor in my pick, but he would, you know, as the Doctor, he would kind of tick that box. I think over and above Bones would be a bit, you know, I just don't know what he would be like with my crew. And if I was on the ship and I had to go to sick bay and it would be Bones, I know it's strictly business, you know, like a military doctor. But I think Hugh Culber's like a healer. I see him like that. Then for science officer, I've picked Data, because he is the science officer. I mean, he's the one that's always coming up with, if we reverse the polarity of this,
I reverse the polarity of the neutron flow.
I think 99 times out of 100, Data's right. And he's quick, and he has the scientific knowledge. He has that encyclopedia built into his positronic brain. As a science officer, he would be pretty good, actually. I don't think he would appreciate being demoted from lieutenant commander down to science, but if I was to pick my dream crew, he would be in the science seat. Tactical would be Worf. I did have a dilemma here. I was going to pick Gul Dukat for this, and I think Dukat would have been pretty good as a tactical officer, as a security officer, you know, but he does have an imposing presence, and he doesn't look like he's quick to shirk a scrap or a fight. But at the end of the day, Worf is Worf. And I think the honourable side of Worf tips having Gul Dukat on my crew. And another reason why I was a bit dubious with tactical and the security officer, my captain is James T. Kirk, and I've put a Klingon in his crew.
Yeah.
And I am more than aware of, you know, don't believe them, don't trust them, let them die. You know, that kind of thing.
Don't believe them, don't trust them, let them die.
I think Kirk should really get past that. But after Star Trek 6, I think he did get past that. I'd like to think he did. I think he would appreciate having a Klingon on his bridge, actually. And I think if he saw Worf as loyal as, and I've seen Worf handle some subordinates, and he said, you could report to me, and all of this kind of stuff, you know. He does do his job quite well, does Worf. I've seen him do his job well. So he's on the team. Operations officer. I'm taking operations and helm because I picked the Enterprise D, so I have them 2 stations at the front. Operations, Data's usual seat, I'm going to put 7 of 9. Now, I know that I'm going kind of cyborg, android heavy on this crew a little bit, but why not use all that augmentation? Why not use all that strength, all that speed, all of that agility, all of those bonuses? And she's going to be front and center on the bridge, and she's going to be offering suggestions the same way Data does and all of that kind of stuff. I think it would be quite good to have her on the bridge, probably in uniform, I would say, no catsuit, but a proper Starfleet situation. I will stipulate, I want Voyager 7 of 9, not Picard 7 of 9. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I know that Picard 7 of 9 is who she evolves into, and who she, that's closer to the human.
That's Annika.
Yeah, I don't want Annika. I want 7. I want that 7. That's who I want. I mean, I'm picking James T. Kirk from the films, not from the series. So there is a time period where I'm picking these people as well. Jadzia Dax at the end. Hugh Culber as he is now. Worf, I would say season 6, season 7 TNG Worf. Not Deep Space Nine Worf, not Defiant Worf, not that. I want the guy from the Next Gen crew. At the helm, Cristobal Rios.
Make it so.
I want Rios on the helm. He's the best pilot, in my opinion. But Cristobal Rios was the best pilot while he was at the academy, and he broke records there, and that's canon. I think I've got quite a stiff crew, actually, like the last people you'd want to sit around and play poker with. So Cristobal Rios with his, his cigars and his character and his sense of humor, and he's a bit blasé and he doesn't really do authority or anything like that. I think I would like him on the crew just to have a bit of humanity there, a bit of life, a bit of naughtiness, a bit of defiance, if you like, something different. The engineer, this was a bad decision. This was a hard one. When you look at the list of engineers, they're weak. They're all weak, really. They're not. I mean, I don't think Geordie LaForge is a very good engineer. He's methodical, he's by the book, but he doesn't dazzle me. He never comes up with anything brilliant, in my opinion. Stamets isn't an engineer. He's a spore drive expert. Who else have we got? It's got to be Scotty. It has to be Scotty. I know.
What about B'Elanna Torres? Just out of interest, talking about, because she comes across as a solid engineer to me.
She does come across as a solid engineer. But she pisses me off. Worf can handle his Klingon shit. She seems to struggle with her Klingon shit. And she kind of stands behind it a little bit like, oh, I'm sorry I freaked out, but I'm a Klingon. Worf never does that. And if he does do that, he's very apologetic and he's very quick to say, do you know what? That was the wrong thing to do. I don't think Scotty puts a foot wrong, really. I mean, he's mediocre. All the engineers are mediocre. They are bland. I couldn't say O'Brien either. O'Brien's type of engineer, I mean, he copes with all of that Kardashian stuff and he makes it work. But in episode 1 of DS9, he gets a transporter to work by kicking it. He kicks it. In the pilot episode, it's just like, I can't get it to work. Bosh. And it's not the Scotty from the JJ films. I think, what's the guy that does Scotty?
Simon Pegg.
I think he's shockingly poor.
Wow.
I think he's shit.
I love Simon Pegg as a writer and like on Spaced and things like that. Is I've followed his career quite closely, but as Scotty, I'm not I'm not sure.
He doesn't have anything about Scotty.
Yeah,
there's nothing Scotty in him.
Whereas McCoy, for example, McCoy and Spock, I think were actually pretty well done.
I would say original series, actually, where I've picked Kirk from the films, James Doohan and Scotty from the original series with that slick back black hair and that, that kind of side look laddie. That is basically my crew. I wasn't sure how many more I could pick, but that's the pick.
I think Rios is an inspired choice because I didn't even think about him, to be honest. But when he said about him out with his cigar and his kind of like cavalier attitude, I think he would liven up any bridge. I tell you what, I cannot imagine him on a bridge where Picard was captain, though. I know we cannot do that in Picard, but I mean TNG Picard I'm talking about.
Yeah, if you put him on a proper stiff Federation bridge, he couldn't be himself, and he'd have to rein it in. And I could see why he said, "No, I couldn't stay in the Federation. I couldn't have that.
Yeah.
I just couldn't. I can see that. I can see that.
You've got the USS Axonai. You've got that crew on there. What are you doing on that ship?
I'd probably be doing something like astrophysics or something like that. That's what I like. That's what I'd be doing.
Stellar cartography, something like that.
Stellar cartography, something like that. Yeah. I would be the one who's doing backflips every time they pull up to a new nebula or a binary star system or a new kind of radiation emanating from an anomaly in space. I'd be like, yeah, this is brilliant. I love all of that stuff. I'd love to see a black hole up close.
Oh, there's a incoming transmission from. I've done it again. With a don't you laugh, Jex.
I make it look easy, don't I? I really do.
Wait there. There's an incoming mate. There's an incoming. You do it,
Dan.
Yeah,
Dan. I think we have an incoming transmission on subspace.
Sorry, I corpsed. You have to do it again.
Oh, for sake! Right.
Right.
Dan.
Yeah?
There's an incoming transmission on subspace.
On screen.
20 minutes later. Incoming transmission from the big giant head.
Dan, I think we've got an incoming transmission from the Romulan neutral zone.
On screen.
Jolan true to the Romulans and other inferior species of Shuttlebay 4. Today, you are honoured to hear me present to you my new crew, assembled with the utmost precision and strategic prowess. Leading our crew we have the illustrious Captain Sisko, a beacon of leadership and resolve. With no strategy out of bounds, his ingenuity shines bright, much like a guiding star in a pale moonlight. Standing alongside him is Commander Tomahawk, the epitome of Romulan cunning. He serves as our first officer, ensuring operations are run with a seamless efficiency. For tactical prowess, we have the formidable Major Kieran Aris, who brings a wealth of combat experience to bear. Handling operations with finesse is the ever-reliable Miles O'Brien, whose expertise keeps our ship in good running order outside of engineering, and he's always up for a good fight. Our medical bay is entrusted to none other than the incomparable EMH, Voyager's doctor, which we intercepted on the unfortunate Prometheus incident. He will ensure the health and well-being of our crew at all times, or he will be decompiled. Balana Torres, a master engineer, oversees the intricate workings of our quantum singularity drive and all of our vessel's function, ensuring peak performance in the face of any challenge or shortage of spares. In the realm of science, we are guided by the brilliant Jadzia Dax, whose symbiotic knowledge spans centuries and most of the galaxy. And last but not least, Garrick, the enigmatic tailor turned security officer, whose cunning resourcefulness ensures the safety of our ship and crew, as well as conduct some diplomatic away missions, we'll call them. Together, aboard our formidable Dederadex-class warbird, the Praetor's Fury, we stand ready to face any challenge, to explore the cosmos, and to uphold the honour and glory of the Romulan Star Empire. Victory is inevitable with a crew and ship such as ours. Long live the Romulan Star Empire. I hope you all enjoyed that and had a good laugh. That was the point. Please don't take that too seriously. So there's my crew. It was agonising. Dan, I wanted to beam you into space for a good half of it. I didn't stick with the any sort of human-only thing. I hope that's okay. I think Commander Tom... So Sisko... I hope you got the reference to Pale Moonlight there. But Sisko is... I think he's a great captain. And it's who you need in command if you you don't want to die. He brings everybody home. Commander Tomahawk, I think he's a fantastic first officer, and I don't really think any of the series first officers are very good. So I think having an ulterior captain as your first officer is probably fantastic. And he outwitted Picard in quite a lot of situations, which I think makes him quite a good tactician. So he's definitely there. Miles O'Brien, I mean, he's always up for a good fight, and he can fix anything. Even if he's not the engineer for this, he runs the operations. But I think he'd make a good, resourceful bridge officer. Fix things on the go that the engineering concentrate on the main problems. Tactical Kieran Reese, because she's fought like her entire life and it just makes sense. Okay, not ship combat, but she learned a lot in the Dominion War. That works. Plus, I think all of the people I've listed so far I would like to go for a drink with, which may have biased my opinion somewhat. Belana Torres, because I think possibly she's the best engineer. That was a hard one because she didn't have any backup. There was no federation, and she's got the Maquis background. She just sort of whacks it together. She's a little bit temperamental, but so am I. The EMH, because Bob Picardo. Do I even need to say anything else?
Strange. According to my readings, you are not here.
Believe me, I wish I weren't.
Dax, because Dax is that doesn't. I imagine they're on lots of your crew, so I'll leave that one alone. And Garak. Garak was very, very close swap for. If this was a 6 instead of an 8, it would be Garak would be replacing Kira as tactical officer because I loved Garak. As for my role on the ship, I would be the bartender / tall shore plant with my ear to every door. It's almost like, if you took this as a real event, being Star Trek but watching it from the outside, but still knowing everything that's going on, I think that would be quite an interesting role. I hope you all have a lot of fun. I hope you have a good laugh at this video. I did try to put on a little bit of a performance, however, as Bob Picardo would say, I'm an engineer, not an actor.
I love all of that stuff. I'd love to see a black hole up close. I would love to see the pillars of creation up close. I would love to see all of that. What? We laughing at? You laughing at me? What is this?
You said something about I'd love to see.
I don't get it.
Something about a black hole?
Did everyone in this fucking group just suddenly become a fucking adolescent while I wasn't here? Like, if you say anything like hole,